The new facility has opened, and it's very close to today's event. If I were the athlete that Mayor Rawlings is, I would be able to hit it with a rock from here. And we love that we found a space for the lab right here in Dallas. It's a reflection of the fact that we organize ourselves locally. So locally that I'm sure you recall that Blue Cross and Blue Shield was born right here in Dallas, down the street near Baylor University Medical Center. And we've served Texans for almost 90 years. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Texas serves 5 million members, and across the country, 1 in 3 Americans carries a Blue Cross card, almost 106 million members. We employ nearly 3,500 people in DFW, and we built our innovation center in the West End because we want to help champion the revitalization of the communities we serve. But the C1 Innovation Lab is part of an even bigger picture. While the lab is located in Dallas, its initial focus will be on creating health plan solutions for national employers. And while national employers will be the first priority, there will be benefits for all of our customers as we develop solutions applicable to all members. The West End is becoming an innovation destination, and we look forward to seeing the C1 Innovation Lab contributing in its own and unique ways. The lab is building identity as a makerspace that does real work, as a place that fosters interconnectedness and design thinking, and as a breeding ground for new ideas and experiments that will benefit all employers. At the end of the day, this is one of the many ways that Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Texas is striving to be the leader in making the healthcare system work for employees and members. And it takes a strong citywide leadership to see and support this type of a vision. We are very grateful to the support of Dale Petrosky, the Dallas Regional Chamber, and for the leadership of our fine mayor, whom we are all looking forward to hearing from today, if you can get me to stop talking. Mayor Mike Rawlings has an inspiring story, and even if you've heard it, it's worth hearing again. He came to Dallas in 1976, and over the next 4 decades proved that Dallas is truly the city of opportunity. He worked his way up the ladder from the largest advertising agency in the South, Tracy Locke, from entry level to CEO. He led the world's largest pizza company, Pizza Hut, helping it achieve record sales. He was chairman and managing partner of private equity firm CIC Partners, where he is currently the vice chairman. He served as chair of the Dallas Convention and Visitors Bureau, the city's homeless czar, and the park board president. When he ran for office in 2011, he championed South Dallas as the city's greatest untapped resource. As mayor, he launched Grow South, his signature initiative to spur economic development south of the Trinity River. Ever the public servant, he strives to improve public education, combat poverty, fight domestic violence, elevate the city's international profile, and turn our city into a top destination for artists from all over the world. It's no surprise he was overwhelmingly reelected to his second term in 2015. His leadership is rock solid, and we saw it clearly when Hurricane Harvey made landfall in Texas this year. Under his direction, the city planned for the worst and hoped for the best, offering shelter to evacuees and helping residents to relocate. Today, we have the honor of hearing this leader's strategic plans for the future of the city that we all hold dear. Ladies and gentlemen, please help give me a warm welcome to the Mayor of Dallas, Mike Rawlings.
Thank you, Dr. Hain. Can you guys hear me back there? Is that a yes or a no? That's a yes. All right. Thank you, Dr. Hain. I appreciate everything that Blue Cross Blue Shield of Texas does for Dallas. I think the C1 Innovation Lab is a remarkable place, and you're right about what's happening in the West End. I appreciate it's a good example of how businesses make our city great. And while we're on health care, remember, December 15th is end day to sign up for health care. So make sure any of your employees know that and get that word out. Thank you to the Dallas Regional Chamber. Thank you to all the employees, Dale, Pat, everybody. Pat's leaving, so let's give Pat Priest a hand. I'm going to be speaking about what the state of the city is like and what we've accomplished and what our challenges are. But these are not just my words. These are really the actions of our Dallas City Council. So I appreciate our partnership around that horseshoe. Nothing happens without us all being together. So each of you, councilmen and women, thank you so much for what you've done for the city of Dallas. And lastly, I couldn't do it without Mickey putting up with me, my wonderful wife. My wonderful daughter is here, Michelle, my wonderful son. I've got a new member, a daughter-in-law since we talked last time, so I'm so excited. My family's gotten a little bit bigger with Gabby. So it's been a good year in the Rawlings household. I will tell you, though, that what makes a great city is really not just the good times, but overcoming historic challenges. As we approach our challenges, we know that we will get better because of them. Over this past year, we have made tremendous strides, and yes, we have had our challenges. As your mayor, I don't get to read a lot, but I try to read at least a book every couple of months, and I just finished David Brooks' A Road to Character. If you haven't read it, I commend it to you. He basically makes the point that we've gone from kind of a society based on character to a society based on me. What do I get? Am I famous? Am I rich? Are my feelings being thought about? And he calls us to have more character. And he writes about people, and I think it's true for cities as well. The road to character often involves moments of moral crisis, confrontation, and recovery. When they were in a crucible moment, they suddenly had a greater ability to see their own nature. This really speaks to what we've been through as a city over the past 18 months. There's no question what a difference a year makes. When I spoke to you last December, the city was still reeling after the aftermath of 7/7, the largest and worst attack on law enforcement in the country's history since 9/11. We lost our police chief, David Brown, a native son, and he had a great career in Dallas, and a long and impressive one. We were transitioning to a new city attorney and launching a new search for a city manager. A.C. Gonzalez had announced his retirement. So there was a lot of flux from people's standpoint. These critical personnel changes were happening at a time that we face a serious financial crisis. At the 2016 State of the City, I remember making the speech, and we all applauded when we announced that the pension fund had finally closed the gate and stopped the run on the bank. That's a low mark when we're starting to applaud about that. But it was a key decision that they made. The pension fund struggles posed challenges on multiple fronts. It threatened the financial stability of our city, hurt our bond ratings, and our ability to provide quality city services throughout the city. That was coupled with a decades-old police fire pay referendum lawsuit. The plaintiffs in the lawsuits were potentially seeking billions of dollars from Dallas taxpayers. Our financial challenges were coming to a head just as our city council was discussing a very important topic, and that is a bond election. The prospect of a $800 to $1 million to $1 billion bond election to start attacking our growing needs of streets and parks and flood control. Were we going to go to the voters in the spring and ask them to pass a massive bond package, even with the uncertainty of all those issues? And it wasn't as if we didn't face other major battles in the state level. I don't have to tell this room of business leaders that we were essentially in a war to protect the Dallas, Texas miracle, fighting the legislature on the bathroom bill, sanctuary cities, legislation, and property tax reform. Thank you to the Chamber for stepping up and fighting that battle with us. It is so critical. Thank you to Visit Dallas. Thank you to many others. that we're fighting a terribly misguided and hateful piece of anti-business legislation. Meanwhile, we were continuing to fight an issue that is ever present, and that is poverty. We were number one in the country of large cities with people growing up in poverty, driven by middle-class decline, spreading throughout the city, many low-paying jobs available, but not the jobs that people need to get out of poverty. There were other unexpected challenges that came our way and occupied much of our attention, including Hurricane Harvey, where we had to set up a mega shelter at our convention center that housed over 5,500 registered evacuees, over 30,000 shelter overnight stays. These challenges would have been overwhelming to a lesser American city, one after another after another. But they didn't bring it to its knees. I am so proud that we have addressed each one of them in a thoughtful, methodical way, and the way we continue to succeed is making national and international news. I believe the last 12 to 18 months have better defined the character, the grit, the aura of this city of Dallas and what it means to be a Dallasite than any other period as my time as mayor. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe this has been a most pivotal year in the life of our city in at least a decade. And I believe the state of Dallas, Texas is strong, and we are getting stronger. We are continuing to methodically address challenges as they come our way. First, on the people front, we had issues there I just spoke about. It starts with people, I believe it, and we got ourselves an exceptional leader from Tacoma, Washington, our new city manager, T.C. Broadnex. He has been with us for about 10 months now. Dallas City Hall is not historically known as a place of rapid personnel changes. That's a little different now. TC has hired a dozen new assistant city managers, chiefs, and directors from outside City Hall in about 10 months. Special appreciation comes to the women that have to put up with TC. Kim Tolbert and Genesis Gavino, thank you for making him work well for us. I appreciate it. We also hired Chief of Police Renee Hall from Detroit. She is a even-tempered, strong leader that created a major reorganization last week. A lot of difficult decisions that were made to make our police department more efficient and our tax dollars to go further. Our new city attorney, Larry Casto, as I spoke, has been key in the last year. His relationships in Austin, built as a long career as the city's chief lobbyist, came in to really great help with us as we attacked these issues. And by the way, we're also looking for another member of our team, our new city secretary, which is a key thing as it provides the support and the details necessary to run a city. So, headline there. Check it off. We got a new and improved team. On the financial front, 1 year ago, the Dallas Police and Fire System was projected to be insolvent in less than 10 years, and some said faster than that if the gate had not been closed because of mismanagement, bad investments, and overly generous features. Every major ratings agency had downgraded us at least once since 2015, if not multiple times, as a result of this crisis. Now, with House Bill 3158 in place, the plan is projected to be fully funded in 2056. We got a key feature in this bill, a key governance change, in that the mayor, in consultation with the city council, now has majority control of the board. This gives the taxpayers control of this board. And I want to thank State Senators Royce West and State Senator Don Huffines, who were the champions in Austin that helped us push this compromise to the finish line. The three major rating agencies followed the negotiations closely, and all three have upgraded their outlooks to stable from negative as a result of the pension deal. I want to say thank you to everyone that sacrificed in this pension deal. The taxpayers did, there's no question. But the current police officers sacrificed. Their benefits are not as big as the benefits have been in the past. The firefighters the same way. And the retirees definitely had to sacrifice as well. So everyone did, and we should recognize and appreciate that. Further, so we kind of took care of that issue, but further, the City Council made the very wise decision early this year to delay the bond election from the spring to November. Now, I was a bit of a lonely advocate for this approach early on, but it became really obvious that with most of my colleagues that the timing of TC's hiring and our need to give him and his staff the opportunity to draft their plan was very important. So I'm glad we allowed him to have this process, which included an unprecedented amount of citizen engagement. Now, as you know, the voters said yes to the $1.05 billion bond program last month, passing all 10 measures by a comfortable margin. It includes 1,300 projects, over $500 million in streets, over $250 million in parks, $50 million for Fair Park. We've got city facilities, public safety, cultural arts, libraries, flood control, and even $20 million for our nemesis in Dallas, the homeless issue. Importantly, TC has a plan to spend that bond money quickly and efficiently. Let me repeat that again for you, TC. TC has a plan to spend that bond money quickly and efficiently, as opposed to letting dollars linger as we have in years past. Also, last month, the City Council approved a $62 million settlement in 4 of the Dallas police and fire pay referendum lawsuits. So we were getting sued. We had 6 cases. 4 of them have been taken care of. This is a huge development in lawsuits that have been plaguing the city for more than 3 decades. The net is this. The dark fiscal cloud that has been hanging over our city for many years is starting to dissipate. There are a lot of people that contributed to this, but I also want to thank our great Chief Financial Officer, Elizabeth Reich. Elizabeth came from the Social Security Administration in 2016, and she has done a phenomenal job. In fact, the Dallas Business Journal just named her the CFO of the Year in the Emerging Leader category. Congratulations, Elizabeth, for your help. Because of the way we have met these challenges and the work we have done over the past 6 years, we continue to have a great story to tell economically. Let me just give you a couple of slides to show you that. First of all, there we go. First of all, our property tax base, this is a property tax base slide showing really the value of our city. And the value rose 7.1% in fiscal year of 2018 to $118 billion from $110 in 2017. The growth over the last 6 years, since 2012, is over 6% a year. Anybody would love that chart if they were running a business. It's phenomenal. And I ask the question, well, how did businesses fare at the same time the city was doing it? And we're talking to a business group, and I love this chart. This is the capitalization, the value of City of Dallas companies, what has happened to their value since 1996. And what it says here, that's the yellow line, is City of Dallas capitalized stocks, and the Standard & Poor is the blue line. If you had invested in Standard & Poor, you'd have done very nicely. If you'd have invested just in Dallas companies, you would have earned 40% more over that period of time. It says something, and we talk about this when we pitch businesses all the time. If you want to do what's right by your shareholders, you'll come to Dallas because there's something special there, and this is proof of that. Now, unemployment at 3.1%. as of October 2017 is amazing. October was the 32nd consecutive month that the reported unemployment rate within the city of Dallas has outperformed the state of Texas. What's exciting to me is that it is true in southern Dallas as well. As you know, that's one of the reasons I decided to run for mayor, to make sure we could grow south, to support our neighborhoods and our businesses in southern Dallas. And when you look at the value of southern Dallas, you can see that it is growing rapidly as well. In fact, it grew at a rate of 25.3% this last year. The first time it grew faster than North Dallas. North Dallas only grew by 12%. A smaller base, but you can see this thing starting to take off. We have done a lot in southern Dallas over the past few years. We've addressed our dog issue. We raised over $13 million for a spay and neuter program. We are spending a private investment fund of nearly $40 million. We've had areas of south of downtown take off, Lamar's Farmers Market, et cetera. And Jefferson Boulevard is just remarkable. Everything's rented on Jefferson Boulevard. That's the main street of Oak Cliff. And it is such an important indicator. Redbird Mall is starting to take off. Once Peter Brodsky bought that property, and we just were there with a Starbucks groundbreaking, so that's coming up. We've been trying to get market rate houses developed in southern Dallas for a long time, and over the past 2 years, over 1,500 new market rate houses started down south. I'm going to focus with Councilman Ricky Callahan on Pleasant Grove for the next year and a half. And that is a place that is ready for development, and so many people and so many great families that work in Dallas live there. And if you didn't get to go see the Real Estate Council's Shark Tank experience, you missed something. We put on our own Shark Tank over at Gillies, and over $2 million was invested in 3 projects. It was exciting to see the projects, the people pitching it, and the investors putting their own money into southern Dallas. And finally, who would have thought 5 years ago that the PGA was going to have an event at Trinity Forest Golf Club in southern Dallas, Texas? I mean, it's just amazing that we're going to have this, and I'm so proud that hundreds of thousands of people are going to see southern Dallas and what it's all about. On the international level, we've continued to grow and prosper, and a lot of it has to do with DFW. We have a wonderful airport. I think it's a sponsor today. And they were considered the #1 airport for customer satisfaction in North America. Their sense of making sure they take care of the customers and the small things and the big things is remarkable. And this is a story that we told in Canada, in Toronto and Montreal when we went there, and then Shanghai and Seoul telling the story. And we're starting to get on the top-of-mind awareness of international business leaders and political leaders around the world. Now, part of our story that we always tell internationally is what's happening in the world of arts. In fact, a new study released this year by the American for the Arts shows a lot of progress in the city of Dallas. The nonprofits, arts, and culture sector is $891 million, almost $900 million industry in the city, employing over 33,000 people. Arts generates $97 million in local and state government revenues. So when you see something going for the arts, it really makes a difference to the bottom line. When I started as mayor, we started what was called Arts Week, because there were several things happening in 1 week in April, and it was so successful, everybody insisted we go to Arts Month. And so April is Arts Month, and we'll have 156 events, 55 groups all over the city of Dallas, including our annual Creative Conversation. We also got a lot of other awards. Forbes named Dallas 2017 Best City in America for Jobs. Forbes also named Dallas the top Best Buy city for housing. For the 3rd straight year, we received perfect score for the Human Rights Campaign Municipal Equality Index, measuring how inclusive we are with the LGBTQ organizations. And we're even one of, believe it or not, top vegan cities in America. According to vegan lifestyle magazine Veg News, which I admit I do not read, okay? I also got the honor to go to Washington and receive the Joseph Riley Award for Leadership in Urban Design, given to one city every year for what they've done in urban design. And it is a testament to successes of many visionaries inside and outside this room about what has happened in Dallas. This is a great foundation for success, but the growth will be useless if all of our residents don't participate. And that brings us back to poverty, one of those gnarly issues that we deal with all the time. Well, we've got a little bit of good news as I show you this slide. The next slide. There we go. The child poverty rate in Dallas actually fell from a couple of years ago from 37.8% in 2014 to 30% in 2016. Dallas was tops in child poverty among large U.S. cities, and now we're number 3. It's nothing to be proud of, but we're moving in the right direction on that. I want to thank everybody, including Councilman Mark Clayton, Regina Montoya on the Mayor's Task Force on Poverty, which has led to data, new city attitude, an organization, and a new office. Now, we've isolated what the big issues are in poverty: English proficiency, teen pregnancy, mobility to get to their jobs, more strategic effort needs to be put on job training, and affordable child care. Early Matters talks about we need to get early child care. It's one of the big issues that women have when they live in poverty. So as we think about why poverty is important, it's not only a moral issue, it's an economic issue. And as I see what is happening from a job standpoint, I see that, there we go, nationally, 65% of all the jobs in America need 2- or 4-year degrees. In Dallas, we only have 37% of our population that have a 2- or 4-year degree. So this gap is significant. I know it's something that the Chamber is working on hard, and we have got to come together to make sure it's a reality. Dallas ISD is seeing that 22% get that post-secondary completion rates within 6 years. So there's a big opportunity as we focus on it. Focusing on education is the most important thing we can do. I say it time and time again because it's going to be the key for us to be successful. And you start to see that we're making progress. We're getting more and more kids in pre-K. 85% of 4-year-olds are now enrolled in pre-K, and it's starting to make a difference in pre-K, kindergarten readiness and third-grade reading. We want our children to be taught in excelling schools, don't we? We don't want our kids to go to bad schools. We're making progress there. On the left, you see the dark blue line is the percent of number of schools that needed, were called improvement required, the worst schools in 2014. And the light blue shows that we are down to only 5%. That is a big jump in that period of time, and it's doing better than Houston, Fort Worth, and San Antonio. So we see an amazing progress there. Lastly, we can't let economics, a person's financial situation, get in the way of kids getting those 2- to 4-year college degrees. So what was announced last month and will be briefed to our city council actually tomorrow is an amazing program, a program called Dallas County Promise, where university partners like Dallas County Community College, UNT Dallas, SMU, are going to offer 60 hours of tuition-free college for every student in the city of Dallas. Every student will get this, okay? They not only will get the tuition-free college, but they are going to get dedicated mentoring and coaches along the way, and they're going to be aligned with businesses for career paths to make sure that they have a job when they get out of school. So we have been working hard on getting our kids ready, and those kids that are already out of school, we've got programs like 100,000 Opportunities Initiative where students come in and they can get a job immediately. We had one where 2,000 youth attended and 700 jobs were offered on the spot. Many of you participated with that, and so thank you so much for that. So to summarize, we're growing economically as a city. Southern Dallas is growing significantly. We're being recognized nationally, and we're making progress on our toughest nemesis, poverty. We've got so much to offer this city and this region. We have so much when you look at us, how we compete across the nation. We saw it when we did Amazon, the Amazon pitch, and we worked hard on that. And it was hard. And thank you, the Dallas Regional Chamber, working with the Fort Worth Regional Chamber, putting together a pitch that I think is outstanding. Now, I have no idea whether Amazon's going to pick DFW to go to the next round. None of us do, all right? But part of this thing was getting our name out and letting everybody else know what we were doing. And it was wonderful to see us recognized as a major player for this opportunity. One example was the Wall Street Journal recently selected us as the #1 site based on Amazon's criteria and expert analysis for Amazon. The #1. We agree with the Wall Street Journal. We always thought they were a fine organization. We have a tremendous hand that we're playing. And so the key is really what we're going to do about it in the future. To do that, it starts with people. It starts with a plan, and it starts with a spirit of philanthropy. And I believe as we look into the coming years, that's what we have to focus on. On the people front, it's been an honor to be your mayor, and in 18 months I'll be stepping aside. And new city council people will be joining us around the horseshoe as well. And we've got to make sure that the right people are elected in all those jobs. And the Board of Trustees of the school district, every time there's an elected position. I don't know who's going to be candidates. I don't know who's going to win. But I would hope that they stay focused on the things that are most important. First of all, to me, the DNA of our city has been business. We've got to make sure that we foster a spirit of entrepreneurism and a spirit of business that creates the jobs and the growth and that chart that we showed. We've got to do that. We've got to go a step further, though, and make sure it's inclusionary and that we bring everybody around our Thanksgiving table to be part of that business growth. It's not just business versus neighborhoods. Our neighborhoods are becoming the strongest in the nation, and we've got to have great neighborhoods. We've got to make sure that we have a situation where Southern Dallas continues to foster. I hope the City Council never loses our commitment to that, because it's going to take decades and decades to continue to foster that growth. And lastly, I hope we're a city that believes in the arts, believes in creativity, believes in innovation, whether it's technology or the performing arts or the written word or whatever it is. Let's attract great creative people. These are the things that we need. I hope we elect people with character. I hope we believe that our leaders must be humble and must work together with everybody around the board. Now, I am concerned about this. I am concerned that not enough people vote. It is scary to me that voter turnout in the first mayoral race in 2011 was just 13%. I thought that was bad, but 2 years later, when it was just council, no mayoral race, turnout was down to just 7%. And my second run for mayor, it was at that level too. It's frankly shameful. And we've got to have young people vote. Young people are not voting, okay? and we need to get them out because that's the spirit that'll keep us growing into the future. Many of our city council races are decided by 2,000-3,000 voters, and the same for the Board of Trustees. When more people vote, we draw better candidates and we elect better people, so we have to figure out the best way to get more people engaged in the ballot box. People are key. Planning is important. You got to have the ideas that we're dealing with. With new people comes the opportunity for new plans, new ideas. The City Council has been barraging our new city manager for the things he should deliver, key plans and policies around housing, around mobility, around the arts, around the things that are important to the city. The city manager has asked for us to do this in a planful way. So today, I am announcing that we shall embark on a Goals for Dallas 2030. Taking a naming page off of Eric Johnson's Goals for Dallas, as we all know, this was a momentous moment where we could plot the growth of our city for the next 10 years. And it's not just the City Hall City of Dallas, it's the little C City of Dallas. Everybody's got to be part of this. So we've got to have a green space plan. We've got to have an education plan. Clay Jenkins said, I'll help you with the health care plan. We've got to do it together. This, over the next year, could be a remarkable time for the City of Dallas to put together our metrics of success and how we're going to get there. When we think about the bike trails and the running trails that we need are critical. When we think about infrastructure, it's so key to be planful. I was scared to death when I saw what happened to Houston and said, do we have the plans in place for infrastructure? Fortunately, we had 5 or 6 years ago passed a bond election for Mill Creek flood prevention on the east side of Dallas, and we're going to be voting on this in January. We've got to make sure that Baylor Hospital never floods again like it did in years past. We've got to be thoughtful about planning. We've got to take things like the city map and understand what that is. An economic development plan that we're talking about right now is where do you spend the money? All places are not created equal. We've got to have an affordable housing policy. And lastly, we've got to deal with this workforce issue, okay? I need all the business community to step up on this. I do not need you to be on the sidelines. I want you to support what the Chamber's doing on this front, and I want us to put a planful way to work with the Dallas County Community District. I want us to work with funders and all the workforce training developers. It is chaos right now we've got. Okay, everybody's trying to do God's work, but it's not organized. And we can make a big dent in this issue. So, planfulness is important. Lastly, I want to have a spirit of philanthropy. Philanthropy comes from the word man-loving in Greek, meaning it's not about self-loving, it's about us, the spirit of man-loving. And it has been key to our growth in the last 20 years. First of all, it is a spirit of welcoming city. And one of the things that I'm so proud that TC did when he first got here, I asked him, I said, will you open an office to symbolize to the world that we will take in people from other places? And so he opened the Office of Welcoming Communities. Liz Cedillo Pereira, one of the best immigration lawyers in the United States, is running that for us now. So it's things like that we do. But it's philanthropy also in money. I mean, what we've been able to do in Dallas at the Arts District, what we've been able to do with the Trinity River Park, $50 million gift that we created a local government corporation that Mike Ablon is the chair of, how to take advantage of that. How do we take advantage of the Belo Foundation? The Foundation for Downtown Parks has given us money for downtown parks, and we're going to get that done. So we have literally a park every 3 or 4 blocks downtown in the next 10, 15 years. Pacific Plaza, Carpenter, Harwood, West End Plaza. We got a huge gift from the Moody Foundation just this recently for performing arts, for small performing arts. Girl Scouts have made a huge investment in southern Dallas for STEM programs. We are seeing this all the time. But it's not just about rich people or about the city. It's about what we do. And I know it because when I ask somebody to sit on a board or a commission, there's this tentativeness. Okay, I'll do it, okay? Because it's scary to put yourself in the middle of this. But that's what makes it work. I think of, I close with David Brooks' quote about how we look at ourselves. It's kind of Kinney-esque about ask not what you do or what your country can do for you. He says, as you think about this, he says, you do not ask, what do I want from life? You ask a different set of questions. What does life want from me? What are my circumstances calling me to do? And so as we think about the future of the city, each of that is a personal question that we've asked ourselves. Our council members have answered that. They've said, put me in, Coach. We're going to get in the middle of this. And we're going to have more challenges, but we're going to have a lot more opportunities that we want to take leverage. We want to make sure that we elect the right people, that we plan for the future and execute it, and then all we do, we are the most giving city in the United States of America. Thank you very much.